Started. So welcome again to this session. This is a session co-hosted by ClearAdmit and Hong Kong University Business School, also known as HKU B School. So we are here to talk about the fantastic Hong Kong University MBA, which, speaking of Hong Kong, I did have the pleasure of visiting Hong Kong at one point in my prior life as an admissions officer. It is truly a global city. It's a fantastic place to visit. So if you have the opportunity to ever go to Hong Kong, definitely go. And if you have the opportunity to choose to go to Hong Kong for your MBA program, even better. And tonight we have Sachin Tipnis, who's the Senior Executive Director at HKU Business School, who oversees the MBA program. And not only that, but also the EMBA and the master's programs. Not only is the Executive Director at HKU Business School, but is an alum of the MBA program as well. So really fantastic person to be here to present to you all. And with that, Sachin, I will pass it over to you, and looking forward to tonight's session.
Great. Thank you, Mike. I hope you can hear me clearly. All right, great. So thank you, folks, for joining the HKU MBA Full-Time Program webinar. So our Full-Time MBA program is a one-year program, all right? So before we get into very detailed coverage on what the MBA program is all about, let me kind of cover three things which are always in our mind, right? When we are thinking about doing an MBA. Why should you do an MBA as, say, compared to a specialized master or some other professional degree? When is a good time to do MBA? Is there a perfect time to do MBA? And where probably is a good place or location to do MBA? Now, why MBA? Well, we all, as we start working in our professional lives, whether we are working, whether we are entrepreneurs, whether we are working for large companies or small companies, we tend to kind of specialize in a certain industry or functionality. We do well with that. But as we start growing up the ladder, we realize that just understanding our industry, our functionality may not be enough, because you need to understand the overall view of business. You need to understand beyond your industry. You need to work with people who are beyond your area of expertise. And I guess that's where a good MBA program comes in, because a good MBA program is able to provide you a platform where you get a very good and strong overview of the overall business arena as such. It gives you a nice helicopter view. But at the same time, it also has a lot of emphasis on leadership skills, the soft skills part of it, which probably some programs which are very specialized in nature are not able to provide. And post MBA jobs, most of the time, whether it's large companies, whether even it's startups, they all are looking for somebody who's done an MBA to provide that leadership as such. And that's why MBA continues to be a very strong degree, that it's supposed to give you good academic knowledge. It's supposed to give you a tremendous exposure to the overall business arena and prepare you well in terms of your leadership pursuit. So that's why MBA is a very sought after degree. Another thing is that a lot of times the students look at MBA from the first job point of view. Yes, of course, that's important, because a full-time MBA especially is able to provide you that change of location, change of industry, change of functionality, right? The full-time MBA is very popular for that. But not only the full-time MBA is able to provide you that, but the good value of an MBA is derived throughout your career. It's like making a really good investment, and you keep getting very good dividends over a period of time, because fundamentally it changes the way you think about business, about issues, about finding recommendations and solutions, understanding the market, understanding to work with people, teamwork, leadership. All these aspects come together, and you can use this throughout your career. Of course, network is another very, very important part of the MBA experience. So that's why we believe that MBA continues to be a very, very strong degree as such. So when should you do MBA? Is there a perfect time? So in my opinion, there's absolutely no perfect time. The perfect time is when you believe you're ready to do MBA, because everybody's motivation, everybody's idea of doing MBA is a bit different to the others. Now, you might be looking at an MBA for maybe higher leadership position, but maybe somebody wants to change their location, but maybe somebody wants to totally change their industry. So different people are looking at MBA at a different angle. And that would mean that there's really no perfect time to do your MBA. And I say this from experience that, sometimes when you start following averages, because a lot of candidates, they look at, okay, what's the average size of the class, average age of the class, average work experience of the class. In my opinion, don't follow averages, because then you become an average, right? So really follow your instinct and your need for upgrading yourself, to really getting that new horizons, opening up the horizons, getting the new knowledge, and also, of course, building a strong network. If there's that need, and whenever that need is there, go jump in. So where? Of course, 15 years back, 20 years back, there probably could have been only one answer. Yeah, you need to go and do it in US. But then, of course, then Europe came around. There are some very good schools in Europe. But if you see the last decade or so, you'll realize that the businesses have really moved to Asia. Asia is the center point in terms of whether it's the markets for large companies, or even a lot of Asian companies emerging to become large global companies. A lot of international brands are basically owned by Asian companies now. So the whole landscape has changed. We totally and absolutely believe that learn business where business is. The original idea that you need to go to US or other market was because the businesses were there. It was a very strong the whole connection is there, that you go to the business school, you understand that part of the region, you understand how the business is done in that part of the region. But if you really see what has happened in the last decade or so, Asia surely has become a very, very important part of the world economy. And that's why we believe that Asia could be a very, very strong place to be in. Within that, Hong Kong continues to be one of the absolute regional hubs. Not just regional hub, Hong Kong is one of the world business centers. And we do believe that being in a terrific city like Hong Kong can expose you to so much of business. It can give you really a strong regional perspective and international connections. So that's why we believe HKU would be a good choice. Now, talking about Hong Kong U. Hong Kong U is first and foremost university in Hong Kong. It's one of the apps, it is the leading university in Hong Kong. And whenever you're thinking about doing full-time MBA, I think you need to think about these three very important elements. One is the reputation of the institution, the recognition of your degree, and of course, the network. Now, when you look at the reputation of Hong Kong U, we have built this reputation over the last 100 plus years. At Hong Kong U, we are celebrating our 111th year. So reputation cannot be built overnight, or if it's built like that, it also goes away. But HKU has built its strong reputation over a period of more than a century. We have remained right on top. And of course, your MBA degree, because of that, will be very well recognized. I'm sure you'll agree with me. We don't tend to do MBA again and again, right? So it's very important that this degree is recognized in the market. And that's what the HKU MBA is able to bring in, a very good reputation, strong reputation and recognition. And connected to that will be the network. So network is all about quality, not about quantity. It's not about knowing 1,000 people. It's knowing the right set of people. So Hong Kong U, because it's a very comprehensive university, we also, of course, the business school is very famous, but so is our law school, so is our school of journalism, so is our medical school. So this comprehensive university advantage is your advantage, because your network is never about only the person sitting next to you in the class or just the alum of your school, but overall how you can leverage the quality network of the entire university. So we do believe that Hong Kong U is able to bring these elements to you. You might say, oh, what about ranking? Yes, ranking is important. Ranking adds to the reputation and the recognition. But I would say just use ranking as a reference, because the course content, the overall recognition and reputation of the institution, the culture of the institution, all these things should be more important. Hong Kong U, of course, is very well ranked. As I said, we are in our 111th anniversary. So Hong Kong U is absolutely an integral part of Hong Kong as such. HKU is doing extremely well. So when you look at the #1 university in Hong Kong. Of course, in the world, we are ranked number 21 in QS ranking. We are #3 in Asia. If you look at the Times ranking, higher education ranking, again, #1 in Hong Kong, number 30th in the world. So surely we are doing very, very well in terms of ranking, reputation, and recognition. Also, in terms of research, we are really very a strong school. So in a recent ranking for research, we were ranked #1 in finance research in Asia and #5 in the world. So it says a lot about the caliber of professors we will be having. In terms of the MBA ranking, we are probably one of the only schools in Asia which is ranked across different top rankings and one of the few in the world. So you will see some of the schools are very highly ranked in only one ranking and the rest they are not present. But we are well ranked across different rankings from FT to Economist to Wall Street, Forbes, QS, Poets and Cons, Business because we are doing well on different parameters because different rankings will have different parameters or criteria to rank. But the fact that we are well ranked across different ranking says a lot about how we are able to do well across different rankings. But again, as I said, Hong Kong U and our business school is well ranked, but use this ranking just as a reference. So let's talk a little bit more about our full-time MBA program. So for us, the regional perspective is very important. We believe that a lot of you, if you're choosing to come to Hong Kong, you have some interest in Asia. You want to be part of the Asia business, whether you want to be here and be part of it, or even if you go back to your country of origin, you become so-called Asia expert. So that's why we make sure that you get a very strong regional perspective about Asia. How is that done? Through the content, the kind of case studies we'll be using. So in HKU MBA, we follow the case study mechanism. So once the concepts, theories are being taught to you, we use cases as a way to implement those concepts, those theories. So the content will be, to a great extent, will have a very strong Asia focus. Of course, the delivery. A lot of our professors are doing a great amount of research in this part of the world, so they're able to bring that content to the class. Also, a lot of your professors will be industry practitioners, people who are CEOs, directors, managing directors of large companies, entrepreneurs. They are able to bring their practical knowledge about Asia back to the class. And student diversity. So nearly, I would say 50 to 60% of the class would be from Asia, from India, China, Japan, Korea, Singapore, Indonesia, Malaysia. So nearly around 50 to 60% would be from Asia. So they are able to bring that knowledge to the class. And of course, those who are from other parts of the world, from Latin America, US, Canada, EU, they are able to really also bring some amount of thought process because they have chosen Hong Kong for a reason, because they do have some interest in Asia. So in talking about the case study based approach, we really make sure that we use very, very, I would say, market driven case studies. We want to make sure that you are exposed to various facets of business. So as I said, that the focus would be still a lot on Asia business during your core courses. So for example, if we are talking about Amazon, we'll look at Amazon in emerging markets rather than how Amazon is doing already in developed market, because that's where the growth is. That's where the challenge of understanding those markets is. Or we will look at, say, international large brands like Starbucks and see how Starbucks is managing its growth through innovation in a very competitive market like China. Or say Moet Hennessy, Louis Vuitton, one of the biggest luxury brands in the world. We will see how are they expanding their brand dominance in Asia. We will also look at Asian companies like Tencent. Tencent is big on gaming. It's big on a lot of things connected to internet. It's expanding not just in China but beyond China, around the world. We will look at Uniqlo, a Japanese company which has done such great innovation in terms of the supply chain that they are truly a global brand now. So this is how we will be kind of using the cases to provide you a strong content. We will be also looking at very topical topics, like, for example, Procter and Gamble, one of the biggest consumer companies in the world. We will see how are they using the data, how are they using the data for managing analytics, because whether it's they are doing marketing or engaging with the customers in today's time, it's very important for them to use the data and use it in the right way. Or we will look at, say, a case like a typical, I would say, a classic case like Sony, and see, is Sony turning around now? If you recollect, brands like Sony, Nokia, at one point of time, they were absolutely top-notch brands doing extremely well, but they were not able to innovate fast enough. They were not able to see the market trends. So these kind of cases are very good base to understand what went wrong with companies and what they could have done uh, to survive better, to innovate better. So you can see a lots of such cases. Walmart, how Walmart is challenging Alibaba, which is a huge company in China. Or we look at US-China economic relations as to how that impacts business. So you will go through hundreds of such cases. Cases are not just written material with lots of data. Cases could be also situation analysis. So look at some latest news item and information available and discuss that to really look at business from a very practical perspective. The case study mechanism at Hong Kong U really helps you in terms of your learning at different stages. Because once the case is given to you at an individual level, you have a certain learning, you have certain thought process. But then in every class at Hong Kong U MBA, you will be divided into a small group. So these 5 or 6 people are going to add a tremendous value to your experience. Because why that happens? Because maybe somebody in this group actually has worked in the company you're talking about, or actually is part of that industry. So they are able to give you a little bit more information. Their perspective might be totally different to what you're thinking, and that will add to your learning process. But then that's not enough. In every class, as a group, you need to present your findings about the case to the entire class. And that's where in a good spirit, the challenge happens, where other groups challenge your thought process, challenge your recommendations about the case. Lots of discussion happens, because that's the essence of a good MBA. So in Hong Kong U, we really pride ourselves with this, where students discuss cases, they interact a lot with each other, and that's where your learning goes up even higher, because now maybe you have missed out on certain perspective angles to the case, and somebody in the class is able to point that out. So this is a 3-stage learning process at HKU MBA. Teaching faculty, as I said, we do have very strong teaching faculty at Hong Kong U. We are one of the top research institutions. So for the core courses, which is to build your basic foundations of business, we are able to bring in these experts, these professors with a very strong PhD degrees, who are able to bring their knowledge back to the class. At the same time, we also invite many industry experts and industry leaders to teach. Most of the electives will be taught by industry practitioners. These are senior executives. These are well-known personalities and well-known people in the industry, and they are able to bring in a lot of practical knowledge. For example, if you look at Professor Philip Chen, he was the former chairman of Hong Kong Jockey Club. He was the former chairman of Cathay Pacific Group. So he brings in a lots of his insight as a CEO, as one of the top CEOs in Hong Kong, to the class. Or venture capital and private equity, VC and PE, very popular subject with MBA students, that taught by Mr. Mervyn Lai. He used to be the former executive director of Hong Kong Venture Capital and Private Equity Association. Also, he's got more than 25 years of experience in VC and PE, which is great, because he's able to again bring in his practical knowledge back to the class. Or when you talk about global marketing management, that will be taught by Virginia Morris, who was the former marketing director for Asia Pacific for Starbucks. Many such examples. Marcus is another great example, somebody who was the former head of strategy for Volkswagen, the car manufacturers. And before that, he worked for Bain and BCG. So again, lots of practical experience back to the table. We also invite experts like DeWitt. DeWitt will be teaching about blockchain and NFTs and tokens. For this, we really need somebody who's an expert in this area, who's actually probably running a business connected to that. So lots of such things are happening at HKU MBA. If you're interested in entrepreneurship, we have a proper entrepreneurship incubation lab. So we work with Cyberport. Cyberport in Hong Kong is a government body which is being assigned the task of providing a platform or incubation kind of services for bright ideas. And we actually partner with them to make sure that we have an entrepreneurship incubation lab wherein Cyberport will be able to provide good ideas incubation. They are the ones who will take you through as to how the entire uh, gamut of, I would say, entrepreneurship can take place in Hong Kong. So how does our curriculum look like? So we have 10 core courses. So these are very Asia focused core courses, plus you need to do 6 electives. So altogether, in terms of your academic part, there will be 16 courses. Plus, you need to do the China Immersion. China Immersion is really giving you insights about how business is conducted in China. So there's a lot of China experts which will be bringing in, a lot of our alums who are doing very well in China. They will be coming in. So there's a constant information and sharing which will happen about China. On top of it, our interaction with lots of corporates suggests that yes, academic knowledge is important, having that technical knowledge is important, but also very important is having that executive knowledge. That means soft skill knowledge, ability to work with people, ability to communicate, and so on and so forth. So the way we structure it is it that 10 core courses, 6 elective, China immersion, plus 4 executive development workshop. And all these things is delivered in 1 year. But our MBA program is very unique in terms of structure. So you spend 9 months in Hong Kong. Okay. Out of this 1 year, you actually spend 9 months in Hong Kong. And as I said, really the focus will be on Asia. Also, a strong part of that would be China, a lot of soft skill development, leadership development. And then you will spend 4 months. Okay. 4 months in either London Business School, LBS in London, or you can choose to go to Columbia Business School, which is in New York. So if I do understand today, a lot of you are from US. So this will be one way for you to also get a good balance between what's happening in Asia and internationally what's happening. So you can actually spend 4 months in New York at Columbia. And these tracks are something which is inbuilt into the structure of the program. So when you apply, you know you're in London track or New York track. Now, that's your choice. So we actually work with you to make sure that you get the choice which is the most suitable for you. Now, when you go to London or New York, you actually plug in to the same MBA class as their own students. So there is actually not a separate class in London Business School or Columbia. It's actually the same class you plug in. And at the same time, you also have a choice of either going to China, that is at Fudan University in Shanghai, or just staying back in Hong Kong and doing your MBA. So you could also finish in 1 year just in Hong Kong. But of course, the London track and the New York track are very popular. So I talked about the 10 core courses, and the 6 electives are the essential theme area for these elective is business tech and innovation. I think in today's time, it's really important to have this kind of a very innovative theme area. Finance and strategy and consulting, they remain very popular amongst MBA. So we want to make sure we have enough courses within this. And managing in China and Asia is very specialized theme area at Hong Kong U. So those of you who want to really understand what's happening in this part of the world, they can think about that. And of course, marketing and general management remains another very important consideration. So the executive development workshops are, as I said, are very important. So from business communication to problem solving, building leadership presence, or even high performing team collaboration, how to work in a team, how to have that leadership is important. So this will be part of your core curriculum. We give a lot of platform for students to really develop their personalities and leadership skills. So we have student-led clubs from ESG to entrepreneurship, consulting, finance, and so on and so forth. At the same time, we also participate with corporates. So we bring in real corporate projects because that's the best way to learn. That's the best way to use your knowledge. And we partner with companies, both large companies and startups, to make sure our students have practical partnership projects. Our career services is very, very strong. We have a proper career services for our MBA student, where we provide a lot of executive coaching. We provide a one-to-one mentorship. We provide a lot of company info sessions where companies come and talk to our students. There's a lot of, I would say, business treks, going to the company offices and interacting with them. So we have a proper curriculum in place for our career services, from one-to-one coaching to making sure your CV is fine, to a lot of company events, info sessions, making sure that we do a large career fair, and of course, as I said, one-to-one proper executive coaching and mentorship program. Under mentorship program, you will get a very senior executive who would be mentoring you on a one-to-one basis. We do a lot of business networking, of course, and making sure that you are well connected with the companies, and at the same time prepare you very well for job interviews and for soft skill development. In Hong Kong, it's really one of the, I would say, the most important part of your MBA journey would be also to get a visa to work in Hong Kong after your MBA. So we know a lot of places you can do your MBA, but you probably don't get the work permit. But in Hong Kong, every graduate of HKU MBA would be given a work permit to work in Hong Kong. So we call it ING. It is quota free, which means that it doesn't matter how many people apply for it, you will get it. Now, one of the very important part of this is that this is your own visa. So you're not dependent on the company to give you the visa. You can just continue to work, and you can also change your jobs because this is your own work visa. You can also do, I would say, part-time internship during this 9 months in Hong Kong, because in Hong Kong, you're also allowed to work 20 hours a week. That means out of this 9 months, 3 to 4 months, you can do a part-time internship. Our career report has been very strong, as you can see, in terms of employment rate, in terms of within the 3 months, or change of job function, change of location, change of industry. I think these numbers are really high. I think Hong Kong continues to be a very strong economy where you can really, really get some amazing opportunities. We are going to do a career fair a week from now, a couple of days from now, and we got nearly 60 companies to come in to have a one-to-one interaction with our students. You can see some of the names here. So it's really across different industries and different, I would say, functionality as such. We also make sure that we do a lot of social and professional activities, a lot of leadership talks, making sure that all the CEOs and directors of large companies come and interact with you. We do a lot of networking luncheons between full-time students and alums. And of course, we want to make sure that also there's a fun element of it, from having networking drinks, not just between full-time students, but with our executive students and so on and so forth. Hong Kong U is probably one of the only universities in Asia which has centers around the world. So of course, we have centers in mainland China, in Beijing, Shenzhen, but also in Tel Aviv, in Israel, because it's an innovation hub. So we want to make sure we have a presence there. And we also have a representative office and presence in Vietnam, in Ho Chi Minh City, because we want to make sure we are well connected with the emerging market in Asia. So we have an upcoming event, which is the master class. So in case you want to really see how lectures are conducted, it's not really exactly how it is conducted because we use a lot of case studies and a lot of interaction, but our MBA program director and one of our professors, Bonnie Cheng, will be talking about managing anxiety in an anxious world. I think this is a very topical topic. So if you're interested, please do register for it. So how does the admission work? So this is my last slide. You need to have a bachelor's degree, And for full-time MBA, you must have a GMAT or GRE. We are not a very GMAT GRE driven school, but definitely one of the requirements. If your first degree was not taught in English, but if you are from US, Canada, Singapore, India, if that's where you did your education, no need for you to give the English exam. But in case your first degree was not taught in English, then you need to give the TOEFL or IELTS, and you must have at least 2 years of work experience when you're starting your MBA in August. Okay, so when you're starting your MBA in August 2023, right? Around that time, you should have around 2 years of work experience. These are starting points, bare minimum. But in terms of the admission decision and the scholarship decision, your quality of your work experience and your interview performance, these two are the most critical, most important, I would say, criteria. Okay, so please remember that. The tuition fee for the entire program is Hong Kong dollar. This is Hong Kong dollar, 588,000. Okay. Now, this is the tuition fee. Doesn't matter whether you choose the London track or the New York track or the Hong Kong track. The tuition fee is the same for the 1-year program, which is Hong Kong dollar 588,000. We do have lots of scholarships. Scholarships will be between 20 to 40%. Okay, 20 to 40% of the tuition fee. All right. So we do admission on a rolling basis. That means once the application comes in, we start doing the interviews. As I said, the interview is a very important component of the selection process. When we talk about putting your application, we are talking about the online application. At this stage, you don't have to worry about your references, your degree certificates, and all those supporting documents. If you haven't given your GMAT or GRE, we will give you time. You still have lots of time to give the exam. First, you can get your online application in. We will even start the process of application, and then you can send all the documents at a later stage. All right. So I guess that's about it from my side. If there are any questions, do let me know. Thank you.
This is Mike again, just popping in to help explain this portion of the session. So if there are any questions from the folks who attended today's event, then please put them in the chat box or in the Q&A, and we will get to as many questions as we can. Sachin, I guess I can kick one off if it's okay with you. And I do see that there are starting to come in as well, so I'll get to them as well. But what I noticed from the session tonight was that there was a lot of discussion about how connected this MBA program is to industry, from all the different ways that you mentioned, the way that you bring cases into the context of the program, all the connections with all the faculty who have a really extensive experience in industry. So in your experience, like, how beneficial is that connection to industry for this program and for your graduates?
In fact, we are extremely connected with the industry, Mike, because as I mentioned, at different levels, the starting point being a lot of industry practitioners are actually teaching in the program. A lot of our professors are doing real research, business research with large companies. Then our career services works very closely to bring in pretty much 1 or 2 companies every week. That every Friday is dedicated to corporate connections and corporate interactions. Whether it's a business leader coming in, whether it's a coach coming in, whether it's an interaction with a company, whether we are visiting, say, Bloomberg and seeing how they operate, and so on and so forth. Of course, at the same time, as I said, that each of our students will also get a mentor that's from the industry. We do career fairs regularly. So a large one coming up in September, another one coming in February. So we also bring in real life projects from the industry. So there's a lot happening in terms of interaction with the industry, I would say pretty much on a weekly basis, if not more.
Amazing. I mean, and Hong Kong itself, it's such a hub that I'm not going to say it's easy to have those connections available, but the fact that it's so diverse, I mean, it's great. So many different people could benefit from that. So Couple questions that have come in, and I'm going to ask these questions aloud just to kind of help you out. So the first question was the student visa application. How long does it typically take from offer received to the student visa being processed?
In Hong Kong, on an average, it takes between 4 to 6 weeks that you can get your student visa. So that's the normal, I would say, timelines as such. Of course, case to case, it may differ. Sometimes it just comes very quickly. Sometimes it take a bit longer, but typically it's 4 to 6 weeks. Excuse me. Yeah.
And the next question that came in, okay, so we have someone who's here for the event who will need to take the IELTS, or I guess one of the language exam options. Should they wait for the result from that exam to come in prior to applying, or can they put their application in and then get the results from that test?
They can put the application in and give the exam at a much later stage, or give us the result at much later stage. So let me repeat that: get your online application in first. You will be given time to then submit your documents, whether it's references, whether it's your degree certificate, whether it's the GMAT or GRE result, or the TOEFL or IELTS result. Okay, so that you will have time. So first you get your application in.
A lot of sense. And yeah, similarly with the and here it comes right now, but with stuff like GMAT, GRE, those types of exams as well, there's unofficial scores that can come in. So there are ways to kind of keep that application time frame, keep those deadlines, get that in. So that way Satya and his team know that you're interested, right? It's good to get those applications in as soon as you can.
Yeah.
So another question that's come in, and this has to do with GMAT test scores. And this is, the answer that I'm assuming you'll give is going to probably be pretty similar among a lot of business schools. But the question is, how high of a score do I need to get to securely get an admission offer?
Okay, so again, as I mentioned in my presentation, the GMAT and GRE is required, but it's not a very high component of our admission process. Our most important criteria is the quality of your work experience and your interview performance. So GMAT and GRE is important, but we actually are very flexible with the score. So depending upon your background, depending upon other factors, like which university did you graduate from, do you have any additional qualification, how well did you do in the interview, what kind of a quality experience do you have? All these factors come together. We look at admission in a more holistic way rather than just looking at the GMAT and GRE score, which some schools do, but not us. So don't worry about that part. Work with us and we will guide you throughout that process of what would be the best score for you. So in terms of whether we have a bare minimum or do we give a lot of importance, the question is no to both of them. So really just work with us, concentrate on your statement of purpose of doing your MBA in Hong Kong, doing it Hong Kong U, concentrate on representing your strengths well, and then during the interview, connect with us, chat with us to understand, let us understand who you are in a better way. So that's a way we select students, not just based on any number. Thank you.
And one thing I'll add from what we hear from many schools that we work with on our platform is, do not self-select out because of a test score or a GPA that might be below an average that you see on a site, even a site like ours. The only way that you truly know if you will be admitted to a program is by applying. So
Absolutely.
Put your best foot forward, fill out the application to the best of your ability. If you need some help, ask a friend, ask a colleague, ask a family member to review your essays, to not to do it for you, but to look at these things and make sure that you're really presenting yourself in a strong way. Many admissions officers that we work with always say they review applications to admit, not to deny. They're looking to get people in their program. So, get the best score you can get, send it in, and make sure that the rest of your application also looks pretty good. And I think that's the best way to approach it.
Absolutely, totally agree with you, Mike.
No, they're okay, perfect. You never know. Sometimes you never know if I say something wrong. Okay. Another question coming in, and this is a really good question. We do see this a bunch. someone who owns their own business, when it comes to reference letters,
Mm.
who can they go to? And I'll clarify, we do not know from this person's question if it is a family business or not. But maybe answer that in two ways if you have a different answer, just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even if it's your own business or a family business, I'm sure you have some clients, people who have worked with, people you are probably dealing with, and I'm sure they will be able to provide some insights about you. So I think every school understand that usually a very high percentage references are always good references. You would surely go to someone who you know would be giving you a good reference, right? But we are using references from Hong Kong U at least in a different way. So what we look at when we look at the references, we know people are actually putting in good references, but we are taking some of the pointers from there and then using that in our interviews so that we understand you better. We understand how, if your client says, hey, this X person was able to help us out in this because this incident happened, and being an owner of this business, they were able to help us out on that. We'll probably take that and say, okay, hey, tell us more about it. What was the story like? What happened? How did you help your client? I'm just giving an example. So I think references are not just used as saying, oh, wow, everything is great about this candidate. We know most of the candidates, a large majority of candidates, will go to someone who's going to give them good references. But we are able to pick up certain pointers from there. So that's why you can go to your clients, your vendors, people who are able to give you context to it, your previous professors. So again, for business owners or even for family business people, there are a set of people you can go and give the references to us.
Absolutely. Great advice. Another one we hear sometimes is like a board of advisors, right? Or a mentor as well could potentially be options. So just to help out this person who came in tonight, and that's a really good question. I don't have any other attendee submitted questions as of yet. If there are more questions that you have at the top of your mind, who for the folks who are still with us tonight, put them in the chat. We'll get them asked. Sachin, from being an alum in the program to now working in the program, you've probably seen a growth in the program from many perspectives. What would you say is like the number one thing that you've witnessed in your time being involved with the HKU Business School and the MBA program? What's been that kind of journey? Like, what's something you can really say that you've seen happen to this program over the years that makes it exciting?
I think every program has to develop pretty much every year. So, and that's what I think that's the spirit of Hong Kong, where we are always evolving. And I think that spirit is embedded into the HKU MBA program, because we want to make sure that every year we're adding new elements. We are or taking away things which probably we tried, we thought it will work, didn't work. But how do you make the program more and more relevant? If we ask, when you look at the market, we want our students to have a growth mindset, right? But then if we don't have the growth mindset ourselves, how are we going to provide that platform to our students? So I would say that making sure that our program literally evolves on a year-to-year basis, that kind of a journey for me has been very unique for the HKU MBA program. As compared to many other programs, we are only 18 years old. So we have still not completed 2 decades of being an MBA program, but we are highly ranked, well respected. And I think that happened because every year we evolve. We talk a lot with our corporate partners. We really look at the market very, very, very closely, and making sure that every year new elements are put in, keeping in mind the way the market is changing, so that our students can get the best of the experience. And I think this journey, this continuous journey or change or evolution has really helped the program. So I would say this has been the greatest, I would say, element what I have witnessed in this program.
Love that. I don't know what you would say for that. That's amazing. That's really, really cool to hear. And cool to like be a part of that and then look back and know that the value of your degree has gone up. You're representing something you believe in, and obviously there's been a lot of great things there. So awesome stuff. Another question did come in, and it is, what network can someone join if they're admitted to the program, when the program begins, I guess, what can someone expect who's entering the program as far as what they can access, who they can network with, who they can interact with?
I think I talked about that, how well connected we are with the corporate world. So that's one network, right? A large network of corporate executives in a regional hub like Hong Kong. The second would be our entire business school community. So we just don't run MBA program. We actually run 7 specialized master programs. We run eMBA program. We run doctorate programs, all in business. So this community is your community. So it's not just your own classmates as such. Another very, very important network for you would be our part-time MBA executive who are part of the program. So we run fairly large program for working executives in Hong Kong and in Shenzhen and in Shanghai. So that becomes your natural network because they are doing the same program as you, but on a part-time basis, because these are middle to senior executives, which cannot just plug out of their job. They have family commitments. They are at a senior level. So they do MBA at a part-time basis. These are the executives. So a lot of your courses will be a common pool. So when you come to electives, you'll be learning the electives in the same class as these folks. So that becomes a very strong network for you. So lots of opportunities to network with the right set of people. As I said, the quality network is more important than the quantity.
Man, these questions are great. So another one has come in. Within Hong Kong, is the Japanese community a large community in that city?
It's actually quite a big community. In fact, in our current program, we only take 50 students, 50 students from around the world. So 50 students around the world, but you get lots of attention. So we, as I said, we have large part-time MBA program. We have large master's program. So your network in the school is huge, but the full-time program requires a lot of attention. The career services literally works with you on a one-to-one basis. Everybody knows who you are, what you want to achieve. So that's the big advantage, right? And you can say so that's the context that we only have 50 students, and out of that, 7 or 8 are from Japan. And every year we will have, I would say, around 4 to 5 Japanese students. So our overall Japanese community is big because also a lot of our part-time students are from Japan. But beyond Hong Kong U MBA, there's a fairly large Japanese community because a lot of Japanese companies, their regional headquarters are actually Hong Kong. So a lot of professional Japanese working in Hong Kong.
Definitely makes sense. Yeah. Oh, so yes, our attendees are very appreciative of your answers, by the way, Sachin. You're doing a fantastic job answering all the different questions. If there's any last questions, type them in now. And if not, I have a decent one to end on, so we'll kind of see. But I always like to ask at the end of any one of these types of events, we have folks in the room here who are potential applicants who are interested in this program. What is your piece of advice to people who are at this point in the process, still deciding on where to apply, where to go? What would you say to them?
I would say that try to really understand what the program stands for and what's your idea of doing MBA. Why are you doing MBA? And then connect that to all the components what a particular program is able to provide you, and then try to do the matching. That's one. Second is don't sit next to the water and keep checking the water. Is it the right temperature? Is it the right depth? What I mean is, don't think too much sometimes. As Mike also said, that if you don't apply, you will not know whether you got in or you didn't get in. So go in. If you are confident that this is the time for you to do MBA, dive in. And I really mean that. A lot of people waste few years, just keep thinking whether they should do this, do that, whether the school will admit them, not admit them, but not taking the action. So be action oriented, give your best, put your best foot forward. Don't think too much about, don't pre-decide that this school will not admit me. I think that's very, very important. And also don't think way too much. Yes, think, but don't think too much whether I should do my MBA, not do my MBA. Just dive in. And that's what I always suggest. Always the MBA journey is really a very unique journey. It really prepares you well for your career forward, whether it's your own business, whether you want to be an entrepreneur, whether you want to work for large companies. So, just decide these are the 5 schools I really want to be in, and go in and make your application work. Thank you.
Yeah, I think, bettering yourself with education is never a bad idea, right? So, yeah, as far as I totally agree with you, as far as that waiting, it's like, just go get it done, get it done now while you're young and while you're into it. And then, once you have a family and other things, like, it gets harder. It's always going to be harder the longer you wait. So really, really good advice. We didn't have any other questions come in during that answer. So I'm going to guess that, we've answered everything. I think you've covered all the bases for tonight. And so with that, I think we can probably close tonight's session. And again, just as a reminder to the folks who joined us tonight, first off, thank you for joining us from all over the world, probably. So appreciate you either waking up with us or staying up late to be with us, or anywhere in between. This session we have recorded, so we will send the link out so you can watch it back, take another look at the slides, hear some of these answers again. Sachin, is there a way to reach you or any member of your team for the folks who've joined us if they have additional questions at any point?
Yep, sure. I think our team will if our team can just put the email on the chat box, that'll be nice.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, so we'll put that in so that we, if anybody does have additional questions, because inevitably it's going to happen. You think of something as soon as we log off and you wish you could have asked it. Well, you'll have that chance. And again, Sachin, thank you so much for this presentation. This was fantastic. I always learn a lot when I get to speak with you, and I'm sure that the folks who attended tonight also got to learn a lot as well. So thanks again.
Our pleasure, and really encourage people to connect with us. Email is just a starting point. Connect with us. We can do a one-to-one session with you. So, if you have any specific question connected to your own journey of MBA, your own thoughts on the application, connect with us and we'll do a one-to-one Skype with you. Okay, one-to-one Skype or Zoom, whichever one you prefer. All right. Okay. Awesome. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. And we'll see you all again soon. Bye-bye.